What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Showtime Forum. I am Greg Bergman, at Bergman Greg on Instagram, and at Bergman Greg on Twitter. And thank you very, very much for being here. Now, just so we are clear, you are seeing my face possibly for the first time. If you are seeing me for the first time, I am Greg Bergman. I am the producer of Mason and Ireland on ESPN LA, and I'm sure if you listen to Mason and Ireland, you hear me chiming in with something crazy whenever you know. So if you're wondering who the hell is this guy on my screen right now from Showtime Forum, that's who I am. So thank you very much for being here. And this show is all about what you guys want to talk about. It's all about what the community wants to talk about, because so often everybody goes on to different sites. They talk on Twitter, they watch post-game shows, whatever they happen to do, or just any type of show, and you want to say whatever you want to say, but nobody actually hears you or sees what you're saying. That's what's great about this platform, is that if you say something, I'm going to be able to read it. I'll be able to see exactly what it is that you want to talk about, and it's going to be nothing but Lakers. And as Carlos Escavilla says on YouTube right now, at Bergman Greg and his closet of doom. This is not a closet, just so we are all aware. This is not a closet. You can see my hats up there. You can see a whole bunch of things going on, but it is a room. It is not a closet. It is in a corner of my room, and this is definitely a 5x5 5x5 room that is just for this. And I just got a text from the Lakers telling us that Anthony Davis is going to be on Mason Ireland tomorrow. It just came up on my phone as I'm talking to you. Anthony Davis will be joining Mason Ireland tomorrow, so be ready for that. And so let's go ahead and just start putting in out all your comments. I have some topics that I want to get to. I'm just not there quite yet, but when I do, I want to make sure that if you guys want to talk, I'm here to listen to you first. So SoCal09, what's happening? Hey Greg, how are you? And Al's Acoustic, what's happening to you? What's going on? Happy to see you guys here. From Kevin Meteora, from 23 to 3. Yes, that's what's going on with Anthony Davis on Instagram. That yes, Anthony Davis had to move from 23 to 3 because it got to a point where LeBron wanted to give 23 to Anthony Davis, but they were not able to make it happen because it was too late in the year. It was past the date, and even though if they wanted to, Nike then said no because they made so many 23 jerseys that were said LeBron or James on them that they said we just can't lose that type of money, so we have to wait 1 year, and then Anthony Davis will be number 23 with the Lakers. We hope. V. Mujika over here on the Periscope says, I always look forward to your opinions on Mason and Ireland. Keep it up, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Eric Fellman says, what do you know about the Chris Paul noise? I don't know a ton about the Chris Paul noise. All I know is that there was some issues going on between him and James Harden, and where they were getting into each other's faces, and a lot of time, and apparently what happened, and I believe it was Mark Spears that put it out there, but he said that there was inside, they were talking about how, from a reporter that was actually there one day, said Chris Paul was getting on James Harden for something, and Harden turned around and goes, it's always something with you, man. Like, well, if that's what it is, then there was just a lack of communication for them. I get trading for Russell Westbrook, but Russell Westbrook and James Harden, two crazy ball-dominant guards being there, it barely worked with Chris Paul. Can you really imagine it working with Russell Westbrook and James Harden? Two outstanding, amazing players, especially when they're one-on-one. But besides that, that is going to be ugly. They're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. They're going to get exposed absolutely exposed in the playoffs, and you can take that to the bank because it's definitely going to happen. SoCal09 says, "What do you have the time segment he will be on?" I don't yet. I just saw that Anthony Davis will be calling in tomorrow. That was about as far as I got with that. So as soon as I know, I will let you know. Carlos Esquivia says, "What are your top 2 Lakers potential starting lineups?" I mean, they're basically, it depends on what you're looking for. It depends on who you're playing against and what type of lineup you're looking for. Are you looking for a big lineup, or are you looking for somebody that's more of a much smaller lineup where it's somebody like Anthony Davis, LeBron James, absolutely starting no matter what. Same with Danny Green. Those 3 guys are automatically in your starting lineup no matter what. Shooter, LeBron, Anthony Davis, done. After that, you're going to start either Boogie Cousins or JaVale McGee. I could very well see JaVale McGee being the starter, and Boogie coming off the bench and resting between the two of them, but Boogie being on the floor more towards the end. And then at that point, it comes down to what type of guy you want in guarding in the 1 spot. Now, if LeBron is playing the point guard, which is supposedly going to happen, then you're going to probably start in Avery Bradley, because you need a little bit of defense and somebody that can guard the 1 spot. If you're going a little bit bigger, then you're going to go with Kyle Kuzma, and Kuzma will get the start there, and then you're a really, really big team. So if you start, those are my 2 starting lineups. Basically, is going to be Boogie, Anthony Davis, who's going to be in the 4, by the way, and we'll get into all that. Anthony Davis at the 4, LeBron at the 3, and that would even put, you're going big, but you're going to go Kuzma and Avery Bradley somewhere at that point. Or you're going to go with JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and then you're going to go a little bit smaller. Oh, sorry, Danny Green was on that other one. Danny Green and then Avery Bradley. So at that point, you're going to go either really big, or you're going to try and guard away with some of the younger guys and the smaller guys, like with the Damian Lillards, the Steph Currys, Kemba Walkers, those type of guys, the guys that can actually do damage there. MC Sauce 2, I love the Mason and Ireland show. You guys are the best long time listeners. Thanks, man. Listen every day. It's a great show. We really do a great spot. N-Butnet, last 2-way, Kakak or Caroline. Now, there is, from what I understand, I had a conversation with Mike Trudell last week, and I asked him about this, and he said that most likely, now it could change, but Kakak is supposed to be the one that is supposed to get that 2-way contract. However, they may hold off a little bit and see if somebody from another summer league team falls off. They just don't get re-signed, don't get put onto a 2-way contract with another team, somebody that they really, really like, and then that way they're just kind of waiting on that spot. Otherwise, it's pretty much set. They're going to hold off on that 15th spot, waiting for somebody like a Sean Livingston, or Andre Iguodala gets bought out. See what happens with Kyle Korver. It really just depends on who is available and what they're really, really looking for. Ryan V3 over here on Instagram. Who is going to guard Davis, Kawhi or PG? None are. Well, I mean, no, they're not, but they're going to guard other guys. That is still a very strong team. And look, the Clippers are a good team. To say anything otherwise is just nonsense. Do I think they're going to do well? Yes, I think they're going to have a great regular season. I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs just the same. They're a very good, strong defensive team, and they have some good offense, especially with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but both of those guys have injury issues, and like deep injury issues. You're only going to get about 60, 65 games out of Kawhi because he wants load management. And you're talking about Paul George, who has shoulder injuries on both shoulders, where may not even make the beginning of the season. When it gets to the playoffs, granted they're going to be there and they're going to be a very strong defensive team, I just see this Lakers team as deeper all the way around and really going to make a lot of noise when it gets to the postseason. I love this team. Senior Moody says, best Lakers lineup, my opinion is Avery, Green, LeBron, AD, Boogie. That's one of when you do that, yes, you're going with the smaller team, somebody that's going to be able to guard the smaller guards that we were just talking about. So that's why Avery Bradley would fit into that situation. And then you have, Quinn Cook in that situation. Michelle, sorry about that. Paisley is coming to the door. So, sorry, children coming to the door in the middle of this, totally fine, though, because this is their house. Mr. 3-point shooter, Lakers 1 seed. You know what? I hope so, and that would be great, but it's going to take a little while. Let's be honest. And look, I want to be very, very clear when it comes to this. If I say something negative about the Lakers, and to the sense of what one of the negative parts of them is, That's okay, because no team is perfect, and this Lakers team is definitely not perfect. They still have some wing guarding on the wings, some issues there. There's still some defensive issues, especially around the perimeter, and that's okay to say. That's not just me hating on the Lakers or not being a Lakers fan. It's like noticing what some of the issues are, and so whether they're going to be a 1 seed or not, I would love it. But really, I want the championship. So if they end up in the 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, whatever, I want them in the home court advantage. That's what is really most important. And really, let's think about this for a second. At the beginning of the year, they're going to take some time getting used to it. This is a brand new team together. They have not played together ever before in this sense. Some of them have, like Rondo and Boogie and AD have all played together, and AD and LeBron have played in, all-star games and Olympics and all that kind of stuff. And everybody has some idea about the other, but playing all together is different than playing, practice games and preseason games. It's going to take a little bit of time for them really to gel. So if they start off the year 5-5, 10-10, totally understandable. Jay's son, should I take the chance on an AD jersey? Whew, Jay's son, I'm going to tell you right now, and I hope that I'm right, but Jace, yes, I honestly think so. Look, Anthony Davis, I love what I'm seeing from Anthony Davis outside of off the floor, because he just seems to get it and he wants to be a Laker. He's not gonna completely commit to it, and I totally understand that, and as you should too. He wants money. He wants to be paid. He wants to be paid correctly, and he wants to be a Laker. Where else could he possibly go that makes more sense for him? And really being here in LA, knowing full well that in 2 years, that there's in 2021, they're going to have wide open space in the free agent. There's a lot of free agents that are going to be available in 2021. He knows to be the king of LA, to bring a championship to LA, that means so much more coming as a Laker than anywhere else. And you become a god. You are a huge figurehead when it comes to this, and I believe that Anthony Davis, even though he's not talking about it, he doesn't want to talk about it this year, he will be a Laker moving forward. I think he's going to be there for the rest of his career, and that's what we're hoping for, right? Jason continues, nervous about AD not signing an extension or him pulling a Clay and re-signing as a free agent all along. I think he's going to re-sign. I honestly think he's going to re-sign. It would be a huge loss if he did. Mr. 3-Point Shooter says, should I get Kuz jersey or Cook? I mean, if you're going to get one of those two jerseys, I would go with Kyle Kuzma there. If they didn't get rid of Kyle Kuzma there, they're not going to get him, even though he's going to have to get paid coming up soon. I do believe that if you're going to get one of those jerseys, get a Kuz jersey. However, I'm not big on getting jerseys of current players. When you do that, you're up for risk, because all those people that went out and got Brandon Ingram jerseys and Lonzo Ball jerseys and Josh Hart jerseys, they're gone. And they're not coming back, and so it doesn't make as much sense to have it now when it did. I don't like that whole idea there. 4SBWU says, do you think Memphis will buy out Iggy before the season? No, I think Memphis is going to stand pat and for a long time. Either they're going to try and keep Iggy there and just let him deal with what they got there with Jonas Valanciunas, or they're just going to try and get him in a trade. If they can somehow make a trade for him where they can get someone like a first-round pick, which seems kind of crazy to me because he's, 34, 35 years old at this point. He's already kind of at that age where a first-round pick for Andre Iguodala doesn't make much sense, but a lot of guys could really use him as a defensive stopper, as just a locker room presence. He could do a lot for this Lakers team in general, especially as being just a good wing defender that was really, really needed. So if you can somehow, even though I know other teams are involved with Iggy right now and actually thinking about trading for him, then it would be silly for Memphis to actually do that. Whether they do it or not, I don't think so. I think they're going to wait until they can trade him, and they'll even hold it off all the way until the trade deadline in February. That's my guess on it. Hopefully he gets bought out soon and the Lakers get him, because you can't trade anybody on this roster. You can't trade anybody on this roster until December if you want to even move anybody, and that's not going to happen. One only JG says the best lineup would be AD, LeBron, Kuzma, Green, Bradley, as long as they all stay healthy. And most of you agree, except, people, here's the thing with that. And I think if you look at when the actual if you listen to his press conference on Saturday when Anthony Davis was actually officially announced to the Lakers, he said in no uncertain terms that he doesn't want to be a 5. He wants to be a 4. And so by saying he doesn't want to be a 5, bruising, banging, all those things against those big guys, Vucevic, Jokic, just those big bruising guys, even Montrezl Harrell down there, very often you just aren't going to want to be that guy, so he wants to play the 4. And if you want to play the 4, that's why you sign Boogie Cousins. That's why you sign JaVale McGee. And you have those two bigs that split between the two of them can play most of the minutes at the 5. So at that point, while I like your 5-man lineup, one only JG, I just think you need a big in there. And the big has to be either Boogie or McGee. Angel R42, Greg, I hope they update the purple jerseys, go back to the Black Mamba. Oh, the Black Mamba jerseys were always the best. Anything that the Kobe wore was right. And even go all the way back. Go back to like the Magic era. Those were some sick jerseys. But Nat, do Pelinka's moves also reflect on how bad of a PBO Magic was? I believe so. He botched Lopez and Zubats. He botched those two. I think they completely admitted that they messed up on Brook Lopez. They completely messed up on Ivica Zubats, even though Ivica Zubats, when you look at his playoff numbers, according to Magic Johnson, he didn't average many points. He didn't really do too much. He was good in situations, but he was gone anyway. He wasn't going to be picked up. Now, if you actually look at what this 2019 summer, which was always about, this is what it was always about, was this 2019 summer. And whatever Magic did or did not do, it doesn't matter because all those guys are gone. And he left and he's gone. He walked out and the way that he left was terrible. To just kind of just pick up and leave and say, I want to tweet as much as I want. That's, I mean, come on, that's just silly. And really what it did was it made it seem like Rob Pelinka, whether or not he was the one that made the moves, whether he didn't make the moves, whatever happened in those situations, whether Rich Paul was the shadow PBO during all of that or the shadow GM, or if it was actually Magic in the weeds or in the shadows or whatever he was doing, it doesn't matter. It all comes down to Rob Pelinka is the GM of the Los Angeles Lakers, so no matter what, he gets to be the one that says, hey, look, this is all under my watch. Anthony Davis under my watch, LeBron James under my watch, and building this roster around those guys to get shooters, to get defenders, to get a lot of things that actually are going to help this team for this year, 2019, to be title ready is all on Rob Pelinka, especially as soon as he was gone, as soon as Kawhi Leonard was out of here, they snapped up Danny Green. Great pickup. They snapped up Boogie Cousins on a low deal. They snapped up Troy Daniels for shooting. They snapped up Avery Bradley. They went and they got a full squad that was known for their defense, whether they've been good or bad over the recent years, still young, and shooters. Quinn Cook is a shooter. So all these guys, very good shooters, good to great defenders, okay to great defenders. Did what they needed to do. I'm happy with what I'm seeing from Rob Pelinka. It was quiet, too. Even if it wasn't quiet all the way around, he made it seem like it was quiet, no matter what. And we talked about this over and over and over again during the season, that the Lakers had a problem from top to bottom when it came to the front office. And the front office has completely seemed to be changed, where they are a cohesive unit now that all believes in one goal, to win a championship behind LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And that's the way that they should be running this team. And they are going out and doing the right thing. So I'm okay. I'm okay with what I'm seeing so far. Marcus Smith says DMC looks in great shape. If we get the Boogie of old, this could be very dangerous. And that's a great point, Marcus, because look, Boogie Cousins signed on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. That's very, very low. It's essentially the veterans minimum. It depends on how many years you're going. I believe it's somewhere right around there. It might be slightly above the veterans minimum, which is fine, because 1 year at 3.5, totally okay with that. Absolutely fine with that, especially if he's lost 20 pounds. He's a vegan. He looks crazy slim. And a lot of this has to do with Judy Seto coming in and being it was Kobe's girl, someone that was a trainer that understands how to help a body go deeper into the season. And that's what's happening right now with Boogie Cousins. If we get the Boogie Cousins from 2 years ago, from the guy that used to be Boogie Cousins, that's a huge deal. He was a 20-10 guy. He was the leader of the of the Sacramento Kings. And even when he went over to the New Orleans Pelicans, him and Anthony Davis played great together. They were really a good twin towers, and you can recreate that here in LA with LeBron James. I think that's a huge pickup. That's a huge help. I'm all for that. Let's see. We got Donovan Bryant 8. Feelings about Lethal Shooter working out with us. I love this whole idea about Lethal Shooter, and I was talking about it with some other people at the station today at ESPN LA, and we were talking about how, changing up your entire shootings, the way that you shoot in the middle of the summer. It's okay to do it during the summer. You don't want to do it during the year. However, when you completely change your entire shooting form, it takes a little while to adjust, especially in actual gameplay. And really, if you look at Kyle Kuzma, he with Lethal Shooter, and Lethal Shooter put it out on Twitter today, and you could see his shooting form. It's crazy high. It's way over his head now. I mean, he was shooting pretty good, like right here, but now he's way up here. You can't even see my hands right now. Right? You can't see my hands. I'm out of the frame, but that's because he's way up above, and he's shooting from up high above over guys. He's got long arms. He's a big guy, 6'8", I believe. So he's already going to be shooting over people, and that's the way. Excuse me for just 1 second. Can you please tell them to quiet down slightly? It's messing with my head. Paisley's got a friend over there, and they're being very, very loud. All right, so we're talking about Kyle Kuzma and how it's going to be how he's shooting way over his head. That is a huge help to him. If he can fix that, if it actually starts falling in the season, that's a big deal because he was a 30% shooter. Now, granted, the year before, when he wasn't being guarded by the best defender, he was shooting 38% from three-point range. But as he became more of a volume shooter, he started to miss more, and he was getting better defenders on him. Now, this year, it's going to be different. He's not going to have the best defender on him anymore. He's not going to have Kawhi or Paul George on him at all times. Now, those guys need to guard Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Kawhi on LeBron. Anthony Davis, maybe Paul George guards him. Even that's a little bit weird. So Montrezl Harrell can't stop Anthony Davis. It's going to be a big difference where the best guard on the team is no longer on Kyle Kuzma. And I think that's a very, very important point. Talk About Sports on YouTube. What players don't make the roster to the end of the season? It's very tough to say. I mean, it really depends on what's available. Once you get into December and you getting closer to that February trade deadline, it really starts to change because right now, the guys that you see there, it depends on who's playing well at the beginning of the year. If they're playing well in December, then maybe they're not being somebody that's on the trade block, or maybe they are because there's somebody that you really, really want that thinks you're going to push you over the top. It really, really get there. So I don't know. And to answer your question, Michelle, I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I don't think I'm going to at all because there's enough questions. So thank you for asking. And Michelle is being very, very nice and pressing the buttons for me again, and I appreciate it greatly. So thank you. And also, thank you to Chase Aguirre, who is also hype manning me on ShowtimeForum, the newest member of ShowtimeForum. Thank you very much, Chase. Appreciate you. All right, let's go back to your topics. Moises Mendoza 13. What are the chances of CP3 getting bought out and ends up with the Los Angeles Lakers? All right. I was waiting for this question. I got into this all morning before we went on the show with Steve Mason, and whether or not he's like, you got to accept the premise. You got to accept the premise. And you know what? I can't accept the premise because it doesn't make sense. If you're Oklahoma City and you have about $100 million left on that contract for Chris Paul, buying him out, I don't care if you stretch it. I don't care if you just buy him out. You're going to drop $100 million to buy out Chris Paul to let him go sign somewhere like the Lakers? There's no chance that happens. And you want to trade for him at the very least. And even so, who's taking on that contract besides maybe Miami to play with Jimmy Butler? But no way. There's almost a 0% chance in my mind that this happens, that he gets bought out. And even if you stretch him, you're talking like $20 million over 5 years. Get out of here. Who's doing that? When it's like $5 million, I get it. It makes sense. But $20 million a year that you're taking out of your cap space? No way. No way, no how. Can't happen. HL Los says, we need Iggy in LA. I would love Iggy in LA. And right below it, Al Zakusik says, Iguodala was showing his age last year. He's getting older. But look, as a guy that's the 15th man on your roster, he'll play more minutes than that. But essentially, if you bring in Andre Iguodala, he's the 15th guy that you brought in. So if you're going to get him at whatever his 36-year-old body is, I think he's 36, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but if he's right around there, I'll take that any day of the week. I see here, Talk About Sports says AD at power forward. Yes, that's exactly what he wants, and that's probably what's going to happen. Let's see, the real Zach 3. How do you feel about how in shape Cousins looked recently? We were just talking about it, and honestly, I think he looks great. Lost 20 pounds, and everybody seems to look great. Have you seen LeBron? Did you see LeBron's picture today? LeBron, when he posted up that shot where he had, what did it say on it? It said like Savage Season or something like that. Let me see if I can find it actually on here, because I believe it said Savage Season. But yeah, whatever it was, he looks ripped. He looks thin. He looks ready to go. And I was thinking about this when I saw that picture. Here it is. It's Savage. It just says Savage on it. I was thinking about it. He has to be in shape for Space Jam 2. Now, a lot of people can talk about how, being in the movies is a problem, whatever you want to say, but the fact of the matter is him being on Space Jam 2 has made it so he has to be in shape for filming. So if he's that well in shape and playing basketball every day to do a movie, and then he's ready for the regular season, being like that's a huge, huge win. He's a guy that will probably go on load management, though, because, look, you want him to go on load management. You want him to be ready for the finals. You want him to be at that spot when it gets there. Over here, AP Nodal on Instagram says you can't even have dead money be more than 15% of your cap. So stretching CP3 wouldn't even be legal unless he gave up a massive amount of money. Exactly. So there's just a whole nother reason why you wouldn't do that. Oklahoma City doing anything to just get rid of CP3, being like, okay, we're just going to buy you out. Here's $100 million. No, it's not going to happen. As much as great as that makes as Laker fans, oh, we're getting everybody. We're getting Chris Paul. No, like, it ain't happening. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Row Cub, what's your opinion on the open roster spot? I think they're going to hold on to that open roster spot until they really, really know what is available. If they know for sure that Andre Iguodala is either traded or not going to be bought out, maybe they use it on Sean Livingston, or maybe they use it on Kyle Korver if he doesn't go to Philadelphia, or maybe they use it on somebody else, but they're not going to use it on J.R. Smith, and they're not going to just throw it away. Having that open roster spot really, really helps when you get into a season, into buyout season. Buyout season in the NBA happens all the time. That's how you ended up getting a Tyson Chandler last year, because you held onto a roster spot, and James Jones in Phoenix decided, hey, we're gonna waive Tyson Chandler in the first 7 games of the season. Go ahead, Lakers, you can have another big. So those types of things happen where they end up getting bought out, and then so you hold on to that roster spot unless you can get an Iggy, maybe even Sean Livingston, but for the most part, I don't think it. Roro Cub also says, I think the Troy Daniels is a sleeper signing. Very well could be. Another high percentage 3-point shooter, and what did we talk about over and over again last year as Laker fans? There is no shooting on this team. Troy Daniels is a shooter, and he's a guy that basically, him and Quinn Cook, all they have to do, stand in corners, stand around the 3-point line, and just drain open threes. That's a huge deal. When you have to double team either LeBron, double team Anthony Davis, or even be thinking about Boogie Cousins, be thinking about Kyle Kuzma, be thinking about Danny Green shooting wide open 3-pointers, other guys are going to be wide open, and Troy Daniels, as long as he can actually drain those, same with KCP. And I know most of you guys hate KCP. He's very young. He's 25, maybe 26 years old. KCP, and I see it right here, Caustic 187. Can't believe KCP made it back. Now, let's just think about KCP for just a second, and I really look at what his role is on this team. Last year, his role was create your own shot, because off the bench, you're the only guy that can create your own shot and shoot 3-pointers and just shoot at a high level. And he doesn't have to do that anymore. He doesn't need to try and create his own shot. Other guys are going to be creating shots for him. So if he's just shooting threes and playing defense because he's supposed to be a 3-and-D guy, that's who he was supposed to be. And that's what we're hoping he's going to be. But now he doesn't have to be that guy that's trying to drive into the lane, trying to find his open spot. He just has to get open and shoot wide open threes. That's a huge deal. And think about that with Quinn Cook. Think about that with Troy Daniels. Think about that even with Kyle Kuzma to a lesser extent. A lot of these guys are going to be wide open for three, and they're going to be able to hit them. It's going to be way, way better. Let's see. I got the real Zach3 says, my guess is Kuz airballs a decent amount to start, but adjust to it. I think that's you're talking about with the shooting change. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here so I don't miss very many of these. Let's see. Al's Acoustic. Meta said Kuzma hit him up for defensive advice. Yeah, Al's Acoustic, you're absolutely right. So with Kyle Kuzma, he's done a ton, an absolute ton over the offseason. He has not just been going out and partying and playing, video games or doing whatever it is that kids his age usually do, which is 23, 24 years old. He's going out, he's talking to Kobe Bryant. He's going to, and teaching at the Mamba Sports Academy. He's on the floor every single day for the most part. I don't know his exact schedule, but he's on the floor a ton. And I see posts all the time from Lethal Shooter where he's working on his game. He's talking to Meta World Peace about how to become a better defender. These are all things that make Kyle Kuzma who he is and why he just gets it. What he thinks what it means to be a Laker for him and to be possibly that third star for this team. It's a huge deal. Could you imagine if Boogie Cousins is your fourth star on that team? That's a huge deal. That's great. So if Kuzma can actually be that guy, be the sixth man that he needs to be, or even if he ends up starting, being just a volume shooter with it's wide open, it's going to be amazing. And the way Caustic 187 says it, Kuzma is going to have a breakout season. And that's what we're hoping. That's what everybody is hoping. Jersey Boy AK says, thoughts on Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver is an excellent shooter, or he was 3-4 years ago. Is he still? Yeah, he can still knock down a three, but he's also like 39 years old, and he's just not the same guy. He plays absolutely zero defense. He's not there for anything but shooting three-pointers. So I would like it just for the fact that that's what he does and that's who he is, but I'm okay with holding off on that roster spot and not doing anything with that right now and just waiting for the right guy. Buyout season, Livingston, Iguodala, those type of guy. And Livingston really because of who he can be. He can hit a mid-range jumper with regularity. He can guard wings. He's just a very smart player. Now, let's see what else we have here. I got Jersey Boy AK says Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday would be another one of those guys. He would be another good, but I don't think he's worth that 15th spot. I do like him, but he's obviously not on a team for a reason. Marcus Smith, Pope needs to go back to the defensive monster he was in Detroit, getting steals and fast break. Hopefully that's what's going to happen. A lot of these guys, when you listen to these guys talk, it changes. They're all saying the same thing. I can get back to the guy that I was now. KCP said it. Troy Daniels said it. What's his name? Avery Bradley is saying it. I can go back to being just focusing on defense and hitting wide open shots. They don't have to worry about being the best player on their team or being a source of points for a team. They can just be defensive players and be wide open for three-point shots. And that's all they have to worry about. They don't have to create. They don't have to be leaders on the team. There's enough leaders on this team. Even with Rondo being re-signed, he's a locker room coach player type guy. So that's another guy that you don't have to worry about. Everybody else just needs to do their job. Play defense, shoot wide open three-pointers. George Santiago says, do you like the Rob answer to Baxter on his conference call? I mean, you have to be very specific about which was the question from Baxter Holmes himself. I'm sure if you tell me exactly what it was, I'll be happy to answer it. I don't remember who asked what. We got a whole bunch of answers on Mason Ireland. I just get the responses for the most part. I don't really pay attention to who the actual writer or the who asked the question was. I'm not even going to lie to you. AP Knodel says, I don't know if it's Nodal. He, by the way, Alex Nodal just became one of the writers for ShowtimeForum, so thank you very much for being there. Appreciate you. Would you cut Troy Daniels to sign Korver? And a lot of people are going to hate me for this answer, and I'm already ready for it. No, I wouldn't. Troy Daniels can hit three-pointers with regularity. I think he's an overall 38 to 40% three-point shooter in his career. He's much, much younger than Kyle Korver, and you can get him to play some defense, especially in a Frank Vogel system. much, much better than that. So there we go. I got a what from Realer Rob. You were not expecting. You didn't like it. Just because you like the name Kyle Korver doesn't mean that it's the right move. George Santino, the one about dysfunction, he didn't want to answer those anymore. Well, because that's what it was all about. Look, we went through 2 years full of just this team is dysfunctional. Getting Michael Beasley and JaVale McGee and Rajon Rondo and whoever else and Lance Stevenson. Those were all terrible, terrible signings, and yes, they were, and it was dysfunctional, and there was problems from the top to the bottom, and we talked about this. It's changed. It's not the same team that you were seeing last year. It's different guys saying you have an understanding amongst the front office from what it looks like, whether or not it's true or not. We didn't even see anything leak from the Lakers during the Kawhi Leonard saga. The only thing that leaked was from Magic Johnson, who's not even the guy. He's not even the shadow player, president of basketball operations. Blah blah blah. I can't really do that. Talk about sports. Greg's still a Kuzma hater. No, I am not a Kuzma hater. I just talked about how great he's been doing in the offseason. I do think that he's a six man, and that's it. That's all he is. To me, I think his ceiling is a six man. Hopefully I'm wrong, and I hope to be wrong. But for the most part, that's where I think it's going to be. Is defense in the heart? Al's acoustic. Is defense in the heart? I mean, look, I know you're messing around and you're just trying to be funny, but yeah, sure it is. Of course it is, because if you're not into it, if your heart's not into playing defense, you're not going to be a good defender. You're going to Olay. You're going to be James Harden. You're going to just let guys get by you as long as you can score on the other end. So yes, it does actually matter. So yes, if you want to be serious, it's in the heart. All right, for SBWU, gotta give props to Pelinka for thanking Magic at AD's presser. He had plan B in place and ready. That's exactly right. Look, Rob Pelinka had a lot of problems, and a lot of people are still very, very down on Rob. However, name me something that he's done so terribly. Even waiting on Kawhi Leonard to see what's going to happen turned out to be the right decision, because look what really went. I mean, there's a couple guys that maybe you could say, oh yeah, I would have preferred to have that guy over some of the other guys that we have now, but you built out your roster the right way with shooters and defenders, and so by doing this, it all helps. So I'm not really, the only one that I'm really super crazy worried about that I would have liked in all of this for a lower, what was it, like a $8 to $11 million was Seth Curry. And Seth Curry was the only guy that I was like, yeah, we should get Seth Curry. That would be a great pickup here because he's such a good shooter. Unfortunately, we didn't get him. He went back to Dallas. He was already there, so totally understand that. And that's really the one guy. I mean, you could start naming other guys and how much they cost, but for the cost effectiveness that are all on 2-year deals that we're all going to be that are basically going to be off the books in 2021 when there's a lot more guys available, I'm okay with it. Art89, do you think they made a mistake not bringing Reggie Bullock back? So, yeah, I was high on Reggie Bullock. He did not look good as a Laker, and maybe it was just because of the same situation as KCP, where he just had to do too much and he wasn't being used correctly, especially under the Luke Walton system. But he was missing a lot of three-point shots, and that's what he was great at. He was like a 42% three-point shooter in Detroit, and then he came here and he shot low 30s. That was just not right. He was supposed to be a 3-and-D guy, and he didn't play very much defense. And his three-point shot really wasn't working. And also, the amount of money that he got, I don't remember the exact deal, but he got a lot of money from New York. So if you're getting that much money from New York, no, I mean, that was just the right idea for him to go there. SoCal King 32 says, I would have loved Pat Beverly and Bogdanovich. All right. Sure, Bogdanovich would have cost you about $18 million. I don't remember his deal, but he got a pretty big deal with Utah, which I really liked that signing. And Patrick Beverly signed over like $11 million, $12 million, something like that with the Clippers. Let's be honest. The Clippers were going to bring him back. That's all about the identity of the Clippers. He fits the mold of that Clippers team perfectly. Overlooked guys that just play hard defense. It's a great signing for them. And as much as we would have liked him, he would have cost too much. So I'm okay with not getting those guys, especially while you're waiting for Anthony Davis, because you're waiting on the right guy. I mean, waiting on Kawhi Leonard. Because if you got Kawhi Leonard and you had Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James, all of a sudden, oh my God, that is the best threesome of all time. So you wait. You wait and you wait and you wait. Lake Show Fanatic, that hat is awesome. Thanks, man. This hat is from Mitchell and Ness, actually. I got it over at one of the shops. I love this hat. This is one of my favorite hats. No, not the Bleed Lows one. I know what you wanted to click. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry. Curtis Purdue 0 says, Rob have a plan the whole time. It seems like he really did. And Lacey Jeff 06 says, Rob has rebounded pretty good so far. Exactly. These are all guys that just make a difference. Like they just seem to have a plan. And when things went wrong, they fixed it all and went right back to what they were supposed to. So I'm happy so far with what I've seen. It's different than when you looked at it last year. When you looked at the roster construction last year, you said to yourself, what the hell am I looking at? Lance Stevenson, Michael Beasley. All right, I can kind of talk myself into those guys, but really? These are the guys, they call themselves the meme team. They call them like the overlooked team. It was this whole, I don't even remember the exact saying for it, but it was terrible. And by the way, SoCal King, can Kuz be LO plus? Absolutely. Yes, he 100% can. Blake St. Clair, what's up, Blake? Nice to see you on here. Says, might just be me, but I don't see the depth you seem to think this team has. Once LeBron and AD start to load management, it's a bare bones roster. See, this is where I kind of disagree. And when you talk about Anthony Davis, by the way, what he said in his press conference, he said, I'm 26 years old. I don't need load management. I want to play. He didn't play very many games his first 3 years because of injury. Then he played 75 games in a row, 2 years in a row, and was just killing it. And then last year, he only played 50-some games because they weren't playing him. He's had an entire half a season plus off season to not play basketball. He's ready to go, and he wants to play. So you're not going to see so much load management behind all that. And even so, the younger guys, Kuzma's going to have to step up. Boogie Cousins going to have to step up. A lot of those guys, but for the most part, you're going to see those two guys, LeBron and Anthony Davis, either play most of the games, and even if LeBron James starts taking a little bit of load management, that's okay, because Anthony Davis can still carry the team. Lake Show Fanatic says, which role player are you most excited to watch? Now, that's interesting depending on what you want to call a role player. I'm really excited to see Danny Green because I think he can be a tremendous help to this team. Shooting high three-point shot percentage, getting to the basket, and getting, if he gets fouled, being a high percentage free throw shooter. Plus, he's an excellent wing defender, and seeing if he can be a full-on two-way guard or two-way forward guard, whatever he wants to be at that time. I'm really excited to see that. I'm excited to see Boogie Cousins 20 pounds lighter than what he was, and coming into his second year off of or a year and a half, I guess, of the Achilles injury. I'm really excited to see Boogie Cousins. Troy Daniels, I think, is going to have a monster year just shooting three-pointers. If he can just hit, like, he could have 3-point shots a game. Those are all going to be big. You're going to need them at the right time. So I'm really excited. And if Avery Bradley can turn into the Avery Bradley that he was in Boston, that's a huge, huge pickup for this Laker team. Showtime 80 says, okay, in all serious question, what seed, if healthy, will we end up in? You can fall anywhere between 1 through 4. It's very easy to fall through. And if you get to 55, 60 wins because of how good this team can be and should be, then you're very much in that 1 through 4 spot. And it's not so much about the other teams, because every team is now just built around duos, and it's about the other guys around it. And I really love the depth that you've built around this team, being good, again, over and over again, defenders and three-point shooters. The shot making is going to be so much better this year. The shooting is going to be so much better, and it really, really, really helps. Selly Sells, what's up, Selly Sells? Says, Laker roster is definitely a great upgrade. It is. Do you remember last year? Do we really remember what we looked at last year? This team looks so much better. Roro Cub, which Lakers make the All-Star team? I mean, we're getting crazy early, but LeBron and Anthony Davis easily make that right there. I'm not going much further than that. Ease001 says, Greg, did you see Kuz slightly change his shot? Thoughts? It wasn't even almost slightly. I mean, he changed. Apparently, they said Lethal Shooter on Twitter today said he changed 8 different things about his shot. He's shooting way higher above his head. And if you've ever played basketball, you know it. It's all about, like, if you're shooting from here, if you're shooting from right in front of your face or below your chin, that's going to get blocked very easily. It happens all the time. If you can have a quick release and still be above your head and have it and be way up there where he's shooting way up higher over his head, that changes your game a ton, because if a smaller guard or smaller forward is on you, they can't get up there. It's totally much better that way. Shane Falco Experience says, "Oh shit." OS, get me hyped about Kuz shot. Yeah, please do. You should. Look at it. Look, I get changing your shot in mid-season is a problem, but changing your shot in the summer, I'm all for changing your shot in the summer. You have plenty of time to get it totally right by the time we get into the regular season. Now, it might falter off early, but if Lethal Shooter is as great of a shooting coach as he says he is, it's a big deal. Chris Camella, what's up, Chris? I would actually like to see Kenneth Faried with that last roster spot. Thoughts? Look, I love Kenneth Faried. However, I mean, he was the manimal. When he's playing well, he's just a complete game changer. He's a guy that can completely, get your whole bench hyped. He's a big energy guy. The problem is he's another big, and he's kind of an undersized big, so you'd have to play him in the 5 or the 4, and because of that, he doesn't really guard other around the perimeter as much, and that's what you really need. So if you're gonna pull somebody in on that last roster spot, I want somebody that's gonna be a perimeter defender. Yes, hopefully somebody that can also shoot a 3-point shot, but I really want more wing defenders. I think that's what's missing from this roster the most, and if you can get that, that changes a ton. Lave Nance, how many games do you see the Lakers winning? I'm talking 55-60. I really think that's how good this team can be. And maybe I'm just being a Laker homer. I'm wearing a Laker hat. I got a Lakers shirt on. I got all LA stuff behind me, but for the most part, I got 55-60 wins, and I just really believe it. Salman Syed 10 says, which team has more depth, Clippers or the Lakers? Now, okay, good question. If you go 1 through 14, the Lakers have the more depth. They have the better, from 1 through 14, going to be better. You can argue when it gets to playoff time that the Clippers will have, and I hate saying this, the Clippers will have a better 1 through 8, 1 through 9, because the rosters kind of shorten and the bench starts to shorten when you get into that spot. So it's really about who's playing the best when it gets towards the postseason. At that point, the Clippers, who have been there, mostly have been there before, I think may have a better 1 through 8. But I think the depth for the Lakers is definitely better 1 through 14. Blake St. Clair, everyone is asleep on the Warriors. Champions just go away, do they? I haven't said one word about the Warriors, and the Warriors are going to be very good. It's going to take some time for the Warriors to be good. That's a new team. It's really Steph Curry and D'Angelo Russell on that team and Draymond Green. But besides that, a lot of that team has changed. I mean, Kayvon Looney, still there, going to be good, but it's just not the same squad that you were looking at last year. Now, when Clay gets back in February, whenever he actually gets back, then they're really going to be a team to threaten everybody else in that division in the West. But until then, they're going to struggle, and it's really going to take until Clay's back for them to be as good as they should be. Let's see, Ray L. Barbone, Cephalosha or Corver? You got to pick one. Oh, boy. I mean, in that sense, I'm going to go... you're really going to make me do this. Everyone's going to hate me even more. I love Corver, but I'm going to go Cephalosha. I mean, they're basically the same age. Maybe Corver for the shooting, Cephalosha for the defense. Why are you asking me that, Ray? That's just mean. That's just mean, and you know it. Smith 1, what about Monte Ellis workout? Yeah, I don't really see that one working out either. I mean, maybe if he turns out to be something amazing, but sure. Real Realtor Rob, which apparently you said was Robin Yeezy. What's up? Will Jello get a workout? You're just being silly now. No, he doesn't even deserve a workout. Get him out of here. The Hoops Truth 1. I want to see AD play 72 games at 33 minutes per game. Okay, go back 2 years. Last year he only played 50-some because they didn't want him to play in the second half of the season. Go back the year before, he played 75 games. The year before that, he played 75 games. So he can. So as much as you want to... The idea that Anthony Davis is injury-prone just doesn't exist anymore. Yes, his first 3 years, he got injured a little bit, and he missed some games, and he ended up in around the 60-game mark for the first couple of years. 2 years in a row, he played 75 games until last year, where they made him sit the entire second half. So that's over. Danny Ekbode. Oh, Donnie Ekbode. I'm afraid to see what you're going to say. Looks like Greg has been seeing some trees. I don't even understand what that... Do you understand what that means? I'm sure he means something there. No, I don't think it's trees. I don't know. He's saying I'm seeing some trees. I don't know. What are you trying to say, Donnie? Put it out there. Come on. I know you're watching. I know you're saying stuff. All right. You always got something crazy to say, but go ahead. Marcus Smith, 818. What 3 teams do we need to watch out for? Watch out for. Okay. 3 teams that you need to watch out for. The Utah Jazz got tremendously better. They are a very, very good, strong team now. They're going to be excellent. And picking up Mike Conley to go along with Donovan Mitchell is a huge pickup for their backcourt, or their front court, or backcourt, yeah, their backcourt. Huge idea. That's going to be extremely good. They have a lot of rim protection. That's going to be a very good team. I would really, really watch. And they got Bojan Bogdanovic to go along with that there for more 3-point shooting. That's going to be a good, strong team. I would look out for Utah. I would also look out. Philadelphia is going to be good again. That is going to be a very good team as well. And the Warriors, you really have to watch out for the Warriors. And I would say the Clippers too, because the Clippers are going to be very good. But this is going to be a tough West. There's a lot of really good teams. I'm not going to say Houston because that's crazy. The idea of Russell Westbrook and James Harden working just doesn't compute in my brain, and there's no chance for that to happen in my mind. No way. That's exactly what... Oh, he was right. Seeing some trees equals weed. Apparently, yes, Michelle. He was talking about that I was smoking. Why? What could I have possibly said to you, Donnie, that says anything different than that? I would love to hear it. Sierra Izzard says, appreciate all the content you put out, Greg. You bring a lot to Laker Nation. Thank you. Thank you, Sierra. I really appreciate that. I just try and talk, and it's really about you guys. You guys just want to come on here and talk. And tell me, I got Donnie being silly, saying some crazy stuff, so... J. Argueta 87 says, you think the Blazers will be a player for Kevin Love? They possibly could be. I mean, look, if you can make the right deal for that, they need more bigs. Hassan Whiteside going alongside of CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard could be good. I think Hassan Whiteside might be a little bit of a nut job and really isn't all that great as he's kind of made out to be. He can get you 20 rebounds in a game, or he can just be a complete loaf. So, there's a reason that Whiteside was just kind of looked over when he was with the Lakers. He's still a good player, and maybe that was a miss, but I think he's a nutcase, and it's okay for him to go. Shane Falco Experience says, what about Denver, though? They're good, but they just don't play D. LOL. Yeah, look, Denver's another good team that just kind of ran it back, right? I mean, I think they added Jeremy Grant. Is that who it was? Or Jeremy Lamb? They added somebody from Oklahoma City, I believe. That was a good pickup for them. And Denver's going to be very good. There's a lot of teams. The entire West is going to be good, and there's not going to be a lot of teams that are going to just fall off of it from where they were. So expect the West to still be tough, but I just think that this is going to be a stronger team. This Lakers team is going to be stronger, especially than anything we've saw over the last few years. TX Domsk 1 says, keep the Laker Dodger talk coming, homie. Great work. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. I will be doing the Blue review on Wednesday, actually, if you want to watch me on my own platforms, at Bergman Greg. I'll be talking Dodgers from there live from the ESPN LA studios. But this, every Monday, is here with you guys on Showtime Forum, even leading up into the regular season. And then when it gets to the regular season, I used to do every single game as a post game. We'll see. I don't know. Michelle got scared by me saying that, but that's okay. Oh, are they outside again? They need something? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. They're okay. It's summer. Mike Redondo. Who on the Lakers will wilt playing with LBJ like Rodney Hood did with the Cavs? Oh, will Wilt playing with LBJ like Rodney Hood with the Cavs? I think you got a different idea here than with the Cavs. I mean, they're different teams. Your number 2 scorer that year was Kevin Love, who was injured. So it was cool. It was LeBron and nobody else. Now it's LeBron and Anthony Davis. So the guys like Rodney Hood and that you would expect to do that. You would expect Troy Daniels or Avery Bradley or Quinn Cook to be that type of guy that's going to be somebody that's going to wilt playing with him. It's not the same when you have a second big star, second superstar there that's taking up all the pressure away from you, where you just kind of have to stand back and watch. It's totally different than what you saw in Cleveland. That team just got willed to the finals by LeBron. Let's be honest. That team was not good enough to get there. So, no. Blank Say Claire says, I think Warriors pump the Rockets, the most mentally weak team in the NBA. Lakers have a shot at top 4 in the West. Pretty much agreed seeing that there. Mike Redondo, we just did that one. Al's Acoustic says, what about another center for the 15th spot? Al's Acoustic, we talked about this. I think if you're going to fill up that roster spot and not wait for the buyout market, you don't go big anymore. You're a big enough team now. The idea is that you want another guard. You want another, or a wing. You want another wing defender at that spot. And that's why Andre Iguodala would be fantastic there. Whether you can get him or not is another question. Even Sean Livingston would be a good shot to go there because he can guard. And he can hit just little jumpers. I mean, he's pretty money from like 10, 15 feet. Donnie Ekbodi, I don't know why I even read your comments anymore, Donnie, but we're going to do it anyway because I'm sure all of a sudden you've become David. I don't know what happened here. Do I really say crazy stuff that often on air? Pretty sure it's just slack. Well, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, this is what you do. You come on here and we're having a conversation about the Lakers and you bring up stuff about slack. So that's on you, man. I don't know what you want me to say. Big Daddy A says, will AD go to 23 next season? No. And Anthony Davis will not be 23 next season. He's going to be number 3 next year. And we explained it earlier in the show, but I'll explain it for you again if you weren't here at the beginning. Anthony Davis is not allowed to go to 23, even though LeBron wanted to give him that number because it was past the date to change your number. I think it was like March 15th or something like that where you're allowed to actually change your number. Then if you wanted to, you have to then go and talk to Nike and you have to talk to the team. And if the teams are all okay with it and everybody's all right with it, then you can do it. However, Nike just wasn't on board with it because they would have lost billions of dollars after they made all those 23 James jerseys that were all ready to go. And they'd have to just scrap all of them to make them say Davis 23. So because of that, and Nike not wanting to play ball in that sense, they decided that it didn't make enough sense, and billions might have been a little hyperbole. Don't start killing me for that. Either way, Nike wasn't on board with it, so they had to go to number 3, and then next year he can go to 23, and I hope that he will be here. George Santiago, what can we expect in ShowtimeForum with the new staff? Any new contact? George Santiago, that is a fantastic question. Let's talk about ShowtimeForum for just a second. Yes, you're going to find a lot more content. So the website should be done sometime this week. We brought on 2 new writers, and those, Philip Herrero and Alex Nodell, and those guys are going to be great additions to this team where they're going to be giving you they're actually going to have writers, and they're going to be having articles I'm thinking once a week at least from each of them that are going to be on the websites for you to read. And so we have brand new content through the written word, which I think a lot of you guys like to read. Plus we have Spider Ben, who's doing cartoons for us. We got that. Javier Hernandez is doing a ton of stuff with our with the graphics that he makes. They're fantastic graphics. That little corner bug in the top there, that's all him. Everything, all the different jersey swaps, that's all him. David Portillo does a fantastic job with the memes. Do you see the spinning wheel? That's all David Portillo. He's a meme master. Does all of that stuff. I got Donnie Ekbodi, who we were talking about before. He's making a ton he's going to be my editor, plus he's also helping me. We're writing YouTube content, so we're hoping to start having YouTube content out in the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks, that we're going to start actually just having where you can just turn on YouTube and you'll see a video talking about things that are happening in Lakerland. It's going to be a crazy amount of content that you just don't see anywhere else. This is going to be an all-access place where you're going to be able to see whatever it is that you want. If you want Laker content, ShowtimeForum is going to be the best place for you to get it because you're going to get everything. And the guys that I have on the staff are fantastic at it. Rael Barbone and Devon Johnson on Instagram have been killing Instagram. If you've looked at the Instagram for ShowtimeForum, it is fantastic. The stories are amazing and they're doing a great job. Our podcast is getting better and better every single week with great guests. Cranjis McBasketball is going to be on the podcast this week with Rael Barbone and Javier Hernandez talking about all of his grades and all the different guys that we are seeing there. Have you seen the grades that we're getting? We did that all with Basketball Index because we made a deal with B-Ball Index to be able to give you those types of grades and those types of analytic numbers that you just don't really find a lot of places. So there's all that stuff is going to be there. We're going to be getting out great content all the time. So please check out ShowtimeForum, and I'm going to be on here and doing what I do and just talking to you guys and talking basketball. So yes, there's going to be a ton of stuff for you to look at. Big Daddy A says, I meant, will he switch to 23 after next? Yes, he will. Absolutely. My Life JC, thank God I haven't even worn my LBJ 23 jersey since I got it last season. Well, now you're going to be able to. Blake Sinclair, Nike seemed to manage when players get traded to jersey swaps. I think it was just Nike wanting the sales for both jerseys this year. Then they sell another AD one next year. People will probably buy. Of course. All right, just so we're aware, I got 2 minutes left. I'm in my 2-minute warning. Man, that hour just flew by. I didn't even get into any of the stuff that I wanted to get into. I didn't get into the new assistant coach. I didn't get into the press conference as much as I wanted to. There's too much stuff on there. Follow me at Bergman Greg, and we can talk about all of that stuff. So please be with me there. I'm going to start answering one question from every single platform like I always do when I'm at my 2-minute warning. And here we go. Let's start with Blake St. Clair says, Laker content is the only reason I tune into ESPN LA since Thompson and Trudell got replaced. More new places to find it is the better. Yes, absolutely, and thank you for being here, Blake. I appreciate that. Over here on Instagram, I got Smith1 saying, could Clippers versus Lakers be the Western Conference Final? 7 games at Staples. Nice Showtime Forum contest. Tickets to a game. I can't really do a lot of that stuff. However, this is going to be a big spot for that. Yes, I think that could be a Western Conference Final, and this is now the Mecca. LA is the Mecca of the NBA basketball now, and this is the great way to see it. Bobby46, great hat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's Mitchell and Ness. Always got good stuff. Rail Barbone, thoughts on Phil Handy in less than 5 words? Amazing player development championship coach. Bam! 5 words. All in on it. I love that, and I think that's a great pickup. Phil Handy is going to be a huge pickup coming from Toronto. He's been to 5 straight finals because he was with Cleveland for 4 years, and he was with Toronto last year. He won 2 finals, and now he's the lead assistant. He's a trainer. He's a player development coach. I love that pickup. It was supposed to be Ron Adams from the Warriors. Instead, is now here. It's Phil Handy. So that's that. All right, I only got about 15 seconds left. So thank you very much for being with me on my live show for Showtime Forum. Always follow us at Showtime Forum and me at Bergman Greg, and follow me and watch me every day or listen to me on Mason and Ireland every single day. I'm out of here. See ya.